to be the future kings. Now, Jace, Cassiopeia banned from Misfits on the blue side, Camille and Rakan taken away by Vitality.
I love the respect that Vitality are giving to Misfits in the draft phase to eliminate some of these high-impact champions that have been rolling people over in the early game. Things like the Rakan, the Braum, the Camille, these are all champions that snowball through the bot lane of just repeated ganks. So Vitality are trying to say, pick a different win condition.
I mean, if you're Gorilla, you've still got Alistar to pick. You can go through the Aatrox in the top lane if you want it. I mean, Urgot's available. You have so many different power picks. You don't even need to look towards that bot lane duo synergy that we have seen them have so much success with.
But there's also so many options. Aatrox, Urgot, Lucian. And they're just trying to say, pick what you want, and we'll take the other ones away. If they grab the Lucian here, this is, again, Vitality trying to throw up the wall and saying, you cannot carry this game through the bot lane, or if you do, we're going to make you work for it.
Knowing Attila, knowing Jackstraw, they will want to put Hansama and Gorilla in their place. So many people have talked about Hansama and Gorilla as the premier bot lane in Europe at the moment. Upset, obviously challenging that with Ignar today, but if we see Attila and Jackstraw just slap back against Hansama and Gorilla, they will have a lot to say about it. And there is the Draven at the start of the slappening in that bottom lane.
I feel like very risky though, because again, Lucian is still open and available, so there's still options for Hansama to find one of these powerful picks. And Attila, Hansama, both known for their Draven performance, and it's Attila who gets it first.
Attila, not having played it yet this split, but as you say, very well known for it across the course of last year. There's the Lucian for Hansama. He went 7-0-6 on that in one of their earlier wins.
And I have to ask if they're going to pick another flex pick here, or maybe they grab hold of the support, since the support pool is being targeted out by Team Vitality to get that, you know, wombo combo in the bot lane, to get Gorilla on a playmaking champion.
I think Alistar is where I'd really want to go if I'm looking at this support. You can pick something like the Galio, though, gives you that bit more protection down towards the bottom side if you want to start those team fights down there. And now we'll have to see where Vitality want to go next.
And it doesn't exactly paint a better picture about where these flex picks are going. You'd think that Aatrox, Galio, okay, Galio mid, but Maxlor has been known to do the Aatrox jungle, and that Aatrox can still very well be a flex pick.
Aatrox jungle is so powerful in some of those early ganks as well. You know, you have the consistent knockups, you have a lot of damage in there. With Jizuke locking in the LeBlanc, I think we can pretty clearly say that that is going to be an Urgot top lane, LeBlanc mid lane. And I like this from Jizuke, kind of laying down the gauntlet, saying, we know you play through bot, I'll take a champion that can roam, but that also can dominate its lane.
I like the fact that it means that if Vitality ever get vision control over an area and LeBlanc is ahead, they can be very punishing about it. It feels like Misfits aren't necessarily having to group up. Their games are going so quickly that a lot of their fights are in skirmishes, and LeBlanc can really thrive in that play style.
Definitely can. Second stage of bans coming out. There's the Nocturne removed from Maxlor. He still has things like the Lee Sin, like the Nunu.
I
if he wants to go to that.
Nunu
I know
so
you want,
badly.
You know what my only problem with Nunu is? We never say Nunu and Willem. We always forget about Willem, and Willem is a very important, integral part of that team.
I saw the Nunu yesterday from Maxlor. I was very impressed on how it synergizes with the Vayne. Went home, did all the research, so I've got so many notes prepared on Nunu. Maxlor, please. I don't think he will, but please.
You never know, you never know. Maybe he'll pick it just for you. Morgana is the next ban coming out from Misfits, so they're trying to get rid of some of the ability for Vitality to survive in that bottom lane. I'm looking maybe a Tahm Kench ban there as well, just to remove any safety from Attila and Jackstraw down towards that bottom side.
It would certainly make a lot of sense, but that said, Morgana also just works very well with Draven, can help kind of shore up a bit of his wave throwing problems because he has to wait for the axe, and Morgana has the W available. You also press Black Shield to let Draven run in, so it doesn't necessarily just... It's not necessarily indicative that they're just trying to take away the protectiveness of bot lane. Or defensive bot lane, if
taking away anything that could facilitate Attila in that bottom lane is probably a better way for me to put it. There is the Thresh ban, trying to remove some of the aggressiveness that you can have in the bottom lane as well. Jackstraw, of course, a well-known Thresh player. Next rotation is going to be the Olaf in the jungle for Mowgli. We have seen this a couple of times in the LCK. Haven't seen it from Mowgli yet. There are a few different builds you can go on the Olaf, and I want to actually see where Mowgli goes because there's some intriguing stuff on the horizon.
And there was a conversation that Papa Smithy was talking about in terms of itemization rush and the LCK, so we will keep track of that. It's also a comfort pick for Mowgli, and it has a lot of gank potential on the bot side. In the LPL, when you've seen Olaf locked in, it automatically means that you're going to camp bot side because of how devastating you can be running in from river.
Well, that is the Alistar as well in the bottom lane. So it's going to be Gorilla on the Alistar, Hansama on the Lucian. And my query is for Vitality. You know, we talked about how Misfits have a really strong bottom side of the map and you kind of want to shut that down, but you also want to get your top side of the map ahead. That's what Cabochard's done so well. He has the Urgot probably here. Is that enough for him to be facilitated in the top lane, or do we need a little bit more?
I mean, I like the Urgot, and I like what I've seen from Cabochard. He really has been one of the big carries for Vitality in some of their struggles in the early stages of LEC, so I think it fits right in his wheelhouse, as majority of these champions do. It feels like everyone got a comfort pick or a pick that they're really well known for, so if you're a Vitality fan, this is exactly the type of composition that you wanted to see from them.
And if you're a Misfits fan, maybe wondering how much Maxwell will be ganking that bottom lane. He's got the Karthus this game. We've shown, well, Xerxes showed us that he can have a bit of a bot lane impact, but usually much more about just farming up, playing a safe early game, and then getting to that level 6 and really starting to wreak havoc across the map.
And I think it's really interesting as the Gragas support pick. So not only will Gragas in this support position mean that you still have kill pressure in that bottom lane in tandem with the Draven, very easy to set him up, a lot of high burst damage, but I also really like Gragas as a pick into Karthus. Using his cast, Karthus wants to obviously die in the middle team. If he can survive, that's also good, but usually die in the middle of a team and then just have his passive take over for things. Gragas can clear him out from that and disengage a lot of that damage.
We will have to just reset those picks and bans as we get on into the action in just a second, but I'm so intrigued by this draft because we talk so often and we heard on the outset about the splitting of the map. You know, Vitality will play top side through Cabochard, through Jizuke, Misfits will play bot side through Hansama and Gorilla and Maxlaw, and the draft seems to lead towards that, but has just a few different pieces that we'll have to wait and look at as the game progresses. For now, though, we're going to toss it over to Quickshot with Yamato Cannon after that draft.
Thank you very much. Joined here by Yamato Ken. I'm going to start with the draft, and I'm going to ask some big questions. Let's talk this quasi-global. Karthus, Galio, a little different. Are you comfortable with how the draft played out, and are you worried about that pick at all?
Yeah, for sure. I think everything they picked was predicted. Now the question is if we made the right kind of assessment for it. That's the question that will be answered very soon, but I'm very, very happy with how the draft went.
If you were to give some advice to the viewers at home as to which direction we should be looking in order to see how Vitality will win this game, what advice will you give our viewers?
I'm worried that Misfits will take the advice. Listening, I see the coaching staff over there, you know. Just watch out for all our players. Draven's going to cash in, and then things are going to roll.
Let's step back. Misfits and G2, the two teams that have been crowned super teams here in Europe. Let's pretend that's true for a second. What would it mean to Vitality and to you, Yamato, to take them down, give them their first loss of the 2019 season?
I think it confirms that we are the super team for everyone. Because in my eyes, we are the super team that is going to contest against G2 in the finals, coming springs, finals in Rotterdam. So with that being said, you know, this is a big statement for all the viewers as well.
Okay, so if you want to add yourself to the super team contest, why is it that, or what is it the fans are not seeing that makes your team the super team?
Well, I think it's just about the game time. We've only played 3 games. This is our 4th. With more game time, everyone will see it.
All right, more game time indeed. Thank you very much, Yamato. We're going to head right back to the caster desk to take us into Misfits vs. Vitality.
And what a game it is likely to be. Interested to hear that Yamato said he predicted pretty much every single pick coming out from Misfits, and they had an awareness of how they wanted to play this game.
That's why I'm always a big fan of kind of draft discussions. It feels like a lot of the voices will say, you know, like, well, this team clearly won the draft, or this team clearly won the draft, when, for all you know, both coaches can walk away and say, yes, I got exactly what I wanted, my players are comfortable, and now it's about execution. And I feel like that's more so the reality than, you know, these very big, decisive lines of, this team smacked them in draft. I think it rarely comes to that.
Are you telling me my solo queue experience of they won it in draft doesn't translate to the LEC stage?
I'm telling you, your Twitter experience doesn't translate necessarily to
Sorry,
stage.
I need to put my armchair away. Let me just remove it for a second. But I do want to think about exactly how Vitality are going to shut down Misfits' playstyle, because we have seen Misfits play through that bot lane so often. Vitality have a few options.
And that's the key thing that I do want to say, though, that just because we've only seen Misfits play through their bot lane doesn't mean that that's the only thing that they can do. Again, it's unfortunate that with such a star-studded roster, it feels like all we're talking about over and over again, Hansama, Gorilla, Maxler, Hansama, Gorilla, Maxler, Super Saiyan, Gohan, yada, yada, yada. But the reality is that Misfits haven't been pushed to rely on SOAS, to rely on Febby. And Febby's returning to form. So I'm curious that, again, if Vitality with this Draven pick, which is a comfort pick for Attila, can stop Misfits, if maybe we see them reach and show that they really are a super team because they can choose where and how they'll beat you on the map.
I think that's the question, though. I think it's the question that will remain in our minds until Misfits get challenged a little bit. Like, do Misfits have other game plans strategized? Are they aware that if they lose bot, they can then change it on the fly? And is the question we brought up on ReadyCheck, you know, for them to go 18-0, They have to be able to lose through their primary strategy of winning through bots, and then adapt in that same game and take the win.
I mean, that said, I still love the confidence coming from Yamato. He said it on Euphoria. He said it right there. You know, Vitality should be considered in this race for a super team. They are going through an evolution. They're trying to learn these new playbooks, these new tricks, and he does want to see Vitality lift the trophy in either spring or summer. I think this game will be very telling, win or lose. I just want to see a competitive match between these two teams.
Well, while we wait for the players to get on into the game, let's have another look at some of the plays that Maxlaw made yesterday, because in his game up against Origin, it was Maxlaw who set Hansama and Gorilla up for success, and it was Mithy who paid the price.
Yeah, walking into the bush there, I don't think Mithy was really just expecting how much damage was going to go down there. Vedius, I believe, pointed out, had access to the gray health, didn't get to proc it, so just got the surprise burst damage.
I think that's the thing with Nunu. You never really expect him to have a huge amount of burst, but that biggest ever snowball, like, they call it the biggest ever for a reason. It's not the smallest ever snowball, it's not the mediumest ever snowball, it's the biggest ever snowball.
What I really like about the biggest ever snowball and how it interacts with Nunu's movement speed is that it fundamentally changes how you have to ward against Nunu. If he's up in the river, and he'll usually take celerity and river walking in his runes and have control of the Scuttle Crab, his ability to wind up ganks from about the Scuttle Shrine, so that dragon, like, by the time you see him with traditional wards in the river brush, it's already too late. He's flying into the lane, there's nothing you can do to react or to stop him. You kind of have to think about warding against Nunu like warding against a Rammus Powerball. And if this pick starts to be more widely used in the LEC, we'll need to see teams change their warding strategies against Nunu's ganks.
You kind of have to learn it the same way you'd learn how to ward against an Evelynn in the
or
sort of the early game, or a Nocturne, right? You have to have those deeper wards in. But my question is, you know, we don't actually have Maxlaw on that high-impact early game jungle at this game. He's not playing something like the Nunu. He's not playing Camille. He's not playing Lee Sin. He's playing Karthus, who's much more known for just scaling up. And maybe that's why Vitality think they can get that advantage in the bottom lane.
And we said this earlier on ReadyCheck, and we'll say it again. You know, with Karthus jungle, the fact that you have strong pushing lanes like the Lucian, Galio, and Aatrox, it just keeps you safe. It allows you to farm up, allows you to get to that level 4 if you want to start ganking the lanes, and otherwise get ahead, get fed, and start shutting them down.
On the other side of the rift, though, we've talked a lot about Maxlaw. Mowgli coming into this Vitality squad, new for summer or spring of 2019, making some pretty strong plays on day one against Fnatic.
And he had big shoes to fill. Kikis really turned around Team Vitality when taking them into Worlds, but I feel like he's done so right. Yamato said that jungle was the most delicate position when you're changing it out, so they did expect some, you know, synergy issues to go with it, but Mowgli seems to be fitting in, and it's only week 2.
Had a very strong performance yesterday.
Almost night and day from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah, but even in week 1, he had like an 83% kill participation. He was still very much impacting the map for Vitality, just not as effectively as perhaps he would have wanted to. He's always there with the team, but yesterday we just saw him being a bit more proactive with his plays, which is definitely what we want to see today, because he is playing on that Olaf. We talked about how he can get some pressure down towards that bottom lane, maybe even go towards top and help Cabochard out, because Cabochard has been one of the shining stars of the Vitality lineup.
Unfortunately, didn't get the Jace this time around. I really love seeing Jace players actually succeed in the West, and it feels like Cabochard has been one of the few of them to do so, but still on a lot of priority with the Urgot. And it feels like both these teams have the mentality of, we're going to come in and we're going to win lane phase because that's how this meta's played, and now it's going to come to skill checks or matchups, and that's the best League of Legends that I want to see when it comes down to who can just outplay themselves and how that collapses the map.
Especially when you have two teams who are so aggressive and like skirmishes and like to fight. Like, the more often you get a skill check, the more fun it is to watch, because eventually you have one guy just get a little bit ahead, but the other guy's like, no, at level 6.5, I have 3.2 items, I can definitely take this fight. And it's just so much fun to see that back and forth, almost the cerebral skirmishing that we'll see from these two teams.
And it also helps to kind of prop up the depth of talent the LEC really has. It feels like you guys just have good players coming out of the woodwork here.
We do. We have quite a lot of good players, and a lot of them in this game. Of course, a lot of them, a lot of the Vitality team were rookies last year. Look at Jack Troll, Attila, Jizuke, all really developed across the course of 2018, made it to Worlds, defined the meta at Worlds, and now are standing up in their first full year as veteran players, just developing as a team all round.
But you can hear the crowd, and they know that it's coming.
It's coming.
I see players in the map.
Oh yeah, we're getting onto Summoner's Rift. It's the match of the week, the final match of week 2 here in the LEC. Misfits taking on Vitality, the undefeated versus Vitality. the team that continues to defy expectations.
Undefeated and uncontested super team Misfits.
Jack Troll here, looking for a little bit of an invade. He's going to body slam across.
Oh, no.
Oh no, Jack Troll. That's not what you want to see. The killing started early, boys.
Oh boy. The idea was you're probably going to get over the wall first. You take the W, maybe get some cheeky wards down, get the information. Obviously not expecting majority of Misfits to be standing in that brush. Good news, he didn't use any of his summoners. Bad news, he still died.
Yeah, that's a shame because you can see what he's trying to do, right? You get in, you get a ward down, you get some vision, you understand where the enemy jungler is, and we've seen how often Maxwell just shuts the enemy team out of the game, but there, they were just waiting for you. They were ready, man.
Yeah, salt in the wound too, because it's first blood to Karthus.
Oh dear. Yeah, Maxwell pretty happy with that. Just okay. Little bit of giggles, like Jack Troll, you trying to mess up the game for us this early on?
Shake it off. We're only 30 seconds in.
Yeah. Make like Taylor Swift and shake it off, guys. It's fine. One Dark Harvest Sack, one kill, and a Dark Seal in the back pocket of Maxwell now. But Jack Troll and Ozilla will get to the lane first. They can actually pull those minions aside to try and create a better lane position for themselves.
Yeah, one of the advantages of having Olaf as your jungler, although it's pretty safe to do so on most junglers these days. He's low health, gets the blue buff, he can jungle just as effectively without a leash, which again allows Vitality to get their laners in these lanes and start abusing what they've drafted for, which is to dominate the lane phase.
That's what they have to do. I mean, Jizuke is actually in an okay position against Forbidden as well, because Forbidden took the taunt first, which makes it quite hard for him to clear the lane. You can see Jizuke able to step up here, put a bit more pressure down on towards that Galio. But how much can they get out of the fact that they were in those lanes a little bit earlier? How much of these small advantages can they eke out?
I mean, unless they can transfer this into the jungle, you'd think it's just about denying a couple of CS here and there, which Misfits very aware of. They say, it's fine. We're sitting back with the Karthus. We'll lose a couple of CS here and there, but we'll just let the waves push into us.
I'll be pretty happy doing that for the moment, as long as they don't lose too much. Jizuke got a monster wave here. Forbidden's just waiting to clear that one out. There's the Winds of War, gets a couple. He'll be happy enough for the moment. But it's like, if he doesn't get all of these CS under the tower, you're going to look at a 5-6 CS differential, which is an entire wave early on in the game.
I mean, of course, it's always going to hurt, but he's still going to be Galio, and it feels like Galio is in such a strong position in the meta right now. You know, the changes to some of the rune triplets, the fact that he can go into Aftershock and feel like not lose any of his damage because he can pick up the adaptive damage and then build AP and hit like a truck, still be tanky.
Max looking for a gank up towards the top side, waiting to see if Cabochard uses that disdain. As we wait for that, Maxwell just hits level 4. Cabochard disdains away, but Maxwell's on the chase. Flash away, Soaz puts down the Infernal Chains and drags him back into the Defile. Maxwell just about to secure the second kill. Goes to Soaz. Misfits 2 on the board very quickly.
Pick where and when they beat you. That's the thing. Misfits don't always have to run it down into the bot lane. They can pick between these superstars, and this time around, it's Soaz with the Aatrox.
And you can see Cabochard has to burn his teleport to get back into the lane. Mowgli trying to find an answer to this early Karthus jungle power. Of course, doesn't have to go for the jungle item first either, Maxwell. He's going towards that Fiendish Codex. We'll see once again that top lane fight. Maxwell just waiting to hit level 4 and then goes in.
I believe so does so on the cannon creep, then has access to all of his abilities, places the wall of pain, and then just walks it down. And what's worse is that Cabochard also burned the flash, so there is opportunity to have a repeat gank here. And what a lot of professional players are kind of 50-50 on, you know, does Aatrox win this? Does Urgot win this? What are the windows that you can outplay your opponent? It's now swung very heavily in Soaz's favor.
I can promise you, in a skill matchup, when one guy has a kill and the other guy doesn't, the guy with the kill usually wins out those fights, just becomes ever so slightly stronger with that extra gold. Mowgli actually spotted on a ward here as he invades into the Misfits jungle. Maxwell will notice, comes across to force Mowgli away. Olaf's surprisingly squishy in the early game. Gone for the Predator's boots, just trading for those Razor Beaks.
Trying to use the advantage that Jizuke has in this mid lane, peeking his head and trying to take away what he can from the Karthus.
As we have a tiny lull in the game, I just want to bring back the recollection to the Jack Troll death early in the game. It's the fastest first blood in European history as we see another fight happening in the bottom lane. Until I have to flash away. The stun lands onto Jack Troll. Here comes Mowgli with the Predator boots. Gorilla and Hansama running for it. Mowgli flashes forward, teleport coming in. Gorilla, one more axe to the back of the cow, will slay him for the moment. Hansama trying to turn it around for Bivin, has the flash, isn't going to use it, just use the teleport and forces the flash away from Jack Troll.
And that's what we like to see. Vitality had some very shaky early 2v2s early on, but they seem to have cleaned it up in part because of Mowgli coming to the rescue, racing down there and picking up a kill for him.
Misfits early game once again coming up strong. Maxwell actually going to go in for the gank here as Cabochard gets locked up with the Dark-In Blade. Misses the next knockup, but the Infernal Chains gonna drag him back. You can't run away from those chains, Cabochard. Maxwell, second kill of the game for the Carthus.
And you know, coming into this matchup, we thought, okay, Misfits, they're going to play around their bot side, they're going to put all of their resources in there, but Vitality will have Cabo still. He's been one of their stronger standout members, and they can try to play through top side. Misfits then turn everything on its head, say, no, we don't need to help Hansama and Gorilla. We can actually just feed entirely into Soaz and shut down the one working win condition that Vitality have had for these first 3 games.
6 minutes in, we already have 4 kills in this game. Misfits always explosive. Goal difference of an average of 5k ahead at the 15-minute mark. Let's have another look at that fight down towards the bottom side.
And it almost looks scary again for Attila. You're getting those Vayne flashbacks, but they're able to turn around again the damage from the Gragas, and then Mowgli to finish it off, the flash axe.
Just got a flash axe to the back, man. You just got to do it. Have to chop yourself off a nice piece of that beef. You want a sirloin? You want a ribeye? What are you feeling, Frosk?
I'm feeling the real pain point up here, and the fact that he keeps getting this pole back. Where are you going? Small dog on a tiny leash.
Great stuff from Misfits across the board. 1,000 gold lead for them, 6 minutes in. They're in a very strong position. That Carthus only going to keep scaling up as the game progresses. Maxor off to a flying start this matchup.
And it's what Yanko said, you know, Carthus is so devastating when he's ahead, because when he's ahead and he presses that ultimate, you don't have the defensive stats or the defensive items to deal with anything.
Maxwell's early game, just across the course of this split, has been incredible, impeccable. 4.7 kills and assists at the 15-minute mark, 48% jungle proximity. That means between 3 minutes and 15 minutes, he spends half his time near his laners.
I mean, Maxler has always been praised for his creative pathing and how intelligent he is as a jungler, and it feels like he finally got the perfect combination in this Misfit squad, that now he just has strong laners across the board. And when you unleash kind of this genius jungler like Maxler with all of these tools around him, this arsenal in this Misfits lineup, you really get to see him shine, and the stats reflect that.
You see the communication going on in the team as well. Maxwell very vocal on this Misfits lineup. Vitality on the other side. We do have to look at how they kind of slow the bleeding, stem the tide of this game. They have a kill. They're only a little bit behind, but it's still a lead for Misfits.
Well, I think they have to kind of sack the top lane. I don't think you can dig out Cabochard at this point, although he has now swapped over to the Ignite, so probably feeling a bit more confident, at least in the 1v1 duels. But with Requiem and the Galley ultimate constantly threatening over there, Cabochard has to be so aware that he could be dove at any point.
We did wonder as well, actually, would Vitality split the map with Misfits? Would we say Misfits on the bottom side, Vitality on the top? That's not what's happened at all. Misfits playing purely through the top lane this game, and because of it, they're going to get these turret platings down. Jizuke is trying to come up to help out his top laner, but you wonder, is it going to be enough?
The Drake RNG is certainly not helping them. The fact that it was a Cloud Dragon, so even though Vitality, they've completely sacked the top lane, they're just trying to dig Cabochard a little bit out. The fact that he has to pull all the way off the tower, really respect Misfits. It's not like it's an Infernal or an Ocean or a Mountain that you're trading back.
Strong stuff all around from Misfits in this early game once again, but Vitality do have avenues to answer. You know, if Attila cashes in any point soon on this Draven, you're in a very strong spot. You have a level lead on Jack Troll over Attila as well, and you are going to be able to just chip away at this tower bit by bit.
Which is what you would expect Vitality to do. They want to proc these stacks.
Oh
there
my goodness gracious me, good as done! Cash in on the cow, baby! That's a cash cow for you. Hansama unable to do anything to help out his support.
So there we go. The map is split, but it's just opposite of what we thought it is. Vitality control over the bot side right now, whereas Misfits complete control over top side, and Hansama's just trying to clear out the wave and stall them.
Just be careful. Hasn't got the flash or the heal up. If Attila wants to go in, they could. Still got the heal on their side. Just need to land those axes. With the wave being cleared away, they'll settle for the one turret plating for now. We'll push it back in. But because of that, the gold has now equalized between these two teams. Vitality, the playstyle was not what we expected. They're playing through bot, but they're doing it well.
I actually really like this game because they're trying to punish Vitality before Attila gets his back in. So that's why Maxlor was actually creeping in behind, thinking, okay, is this going to be the over-eager, over-aggressive Vitality that we know and love, and maybe punish them? But now that Draven backs off, plays it patiently, he's going to have a big buy advantage.
Yeah, Attila was sitting on 2,500 gold before that back happened. So he has a BS sword, gets a bunch of extra items under his belt. Jizuke just trading onto Forbiven here. Forbiven might have to flash. There's the Ignite. The flash will be burnt. Respect from Forbiven. Should just be able to walk that one off. Final tick of Ignite. Not enough to fell Gallia.
Didn't feel like Forbiven had any sweat there. I was clenching a bit.
I was fine. You learn to judge these things. You know, you get used to EU solo queue, you get ignited a few times.
The scary thing is that Jizuke has flash and Febiven didn't. I was expecting him to flash under the tower, which is why I think it was such a smart rotation for Hansama and Gorilla to rotate over. I think that was the real dissuade from Jizuke, but I'm like, this guy's crazy, he could do it.
Could have gone for it, could have gone for it. Maybe Jizuke of last year would have. Maybe he's become a little bit more measured in the off-season. We did see, as you say, Hansama come up towards that mid lane, clear out the wave. He'll go back towards bot now. We're not seeing any lane swap shenanigans yet. My wonder is, when are we going to see that big first Requiem? When are we going to see that big first combo with the Galio? Because Misfits have all the tools to just nuke someone. When are we going to see them do it?
Well, Febiven now has the priority to roam. He's pushed his lane forward. Unfortunately, he is walking through Vitality's vision, so they're doing a good job making sure that they have kind of their defense covered so that when Galio starts to roam, Cabo gets the proper information, he can back up from the tower, and if they're going to trade the structure, make sure that they don't also trade Urgot's life with it. But this is how far ahead Soaz is.
Yeah, he's in a pretty strong position. Just gives it over to Max. So it's like, here you are, mate. Just leash this one for you. Max will get hit on the eye there and get the Rift Herald for himself.
Take Rift Herald for free. And I feel like it's going to be a race about who gets the first tower. And with the Rift Herald following, that might put pressure on Vitality to say, okay, we need to run bot and force this tower before Rift Herald takes it away from us.
It looks like it's going to be used up towards the top side. Mowgli down here towards this red buff. They will look for a dive. Rift Herald will get that first tower first. The
Misfits are going to win.
Yeah, Misfits win it easily. The teleport comes in. Hansama flashes away, but Attila puts an axe in his back. And now Gorilla not going to get the stun on Jackdaw. He goes golden in the moment. Karthus gets the tower in the top lane, but Misfits have reacted. Double TP gets them to one kill in that bottom lane. Cabochard very low, trying to fight onto Maxlaw here. Doesn't have the flash, but Maxlaw has nothing, really. No flash. Has the ultimate, but doesn't have the mana. Kind of wants to die so he can use the mana. Will he pop the Requiem? He sings a prayer to the gods of Summoner's Rift, and Cabochard comes out on top.
He loses his tower, but he gets the shutdown bonus, and he does manage to kill Maxlor. So big, I guess, win for Vitality, although it still feels like they lost the tower race.
They definitely did, but keeping the gold even against Misfits is not something we have seen any team do yet. We are 13 minutes in or thereabouts, and it's basically even between these two teams. You've got a bloodthirster Attila now. Your win condition is online if you're Vitality. The question is, can you slow Misfits in the mid game?
So taking a look back at this again, as soon as the Rift Herald went down, Vitality said, it's on. This is a race, and we need to force the mid lane play. But an excellent teleport from both Soaz and Febiven to dissuade it and to hold the tower, as well as pick up the kill in return. Meanwhile, Maxlor has just said, okay, I gotta get this tower, and he wasn't expecting Cabochard to go all in on him. So I'm gonna say, yeah, great read by Cabo to get something back for Vitality.
And Cabo's been one of the shining stars on the side of Vitality. You look at it, I think he's 11, 6, and 15 in KDAs, high kill participation, high damage per minute, high ability to survive Requiems as well. Just about eking out alive from there, and even though he was put so far behind in the early game, still only about 20 farm down, has his Black Cleaver completed, and will be able to have an impact in teamfights on this Urgot.
Yeah, that shutdown certainly does help him. So unlucky with these repeated Cloud Dragon spawns.
Oh, we had Triple Mountain, now we have Double Cloud Dragon. What's going to be next?
The thing is it just means that Misfits look at the dragon and they're completely fine giving it up. They say we'd rather spend time with our jungle Karthus in the jungle, getting more items, getting more gold. I just want the bloodshed.
Yeah. I mean, there is a point at which the Karthus just becomes too strong to deal with, really, doesn't it? You're looking at 2, 3 items. When you get that death cap, it should just be too powerful for Vitality to do anything.
I mean, that said, if Vitality stay on clock and they're able to itemize into, I don't know, lockets, things like this, redemptions. We've talked about it earlier, you know, kind of some of the item tools that you can use to deal with the Karthus, as well as a Bloodthirster on Draven. Yeah, the Requiem can come in, but if he hits a single minion, he's going to get most of his health back.
Speaking of redemption, we highlighted the Olaf because we've seen a build in LCK from Tarzan. He goes for this Redemption Olaf as first completed item. Not going for the Black Cleaver. We've had a Hex Drinker here. He's going towards a Redemption as well. So very interested to see how that Redemption from Mowgli actually impacts fights with this Karthus.
We're definitely going to see if it can absorb some of the pressure from a Requiem, but here's the fight.
So as we pull back Mowgli, lands a knock up there, goes Golden, Cabochard coming in from the flank as well here. Vitality want a bit of this Barney, so as knockback. World Ender will keep him alive for the moment. He resurrects back in the middle of his team. Febiven jumps in, no taunt's gonna land though. Flash away from Jizuke, and now Attila full HP can open up. Cabochard gets one, Gorilla getting chased, the chains will pull him back. He tries to do something, but he just can't do enough against Vitality. It's a double kill for Cabo.
And Misfits don't look like a super team in that exchange right there. Just cut the tape if that's all Vitality want to play, but they pick up the fight, they've got the priority on the mid lane, and they will get a good chunk here.
Jizuke jumps in for Maxlord, the Ignite's ticking, Jizuke jumps back. It's enough! Maxlord goes down, but here comes the Requiem. Vitality survived Jack Troll, what the hell is that? That's not a health bar.
I cannot believe he got away with that. Huge play from Vitality as they show that there are still life left to them. They are playing with the nameplates off. They are not afraid of this team.
Incredible stuff, and it's Misfits who picked the fight at the start, but Vitality who put them in their place.
And it is so controlled. The thing is Hansama is very late here, so Misfits actually just kind of caught out. They didn't have their ADC in position. Vitality were already grouped up, and it felt a little bit disconnected. Are they going in for the fight? Are they just trying to disengage to safety? Meanwhile, Vitality are exactly on the same page. They are charging forward, and their chase potential with Olaf and Alistar is extremely powerful.
And we can see Vitality a little bit more confident here. Jizuke especially, he just jumps in. He's like, okay, I can kill this Karthus. I can take him down. Gets enough damage down, and then Maxlord pops the second time this game we've seen an ultimate, and just one of the Vitality's members just about survives. 5 HP. 5 HP on that Gragas at the end of that.
Shout out to Attila. Thank you for that heal.
And supports, they don't do much according to Upset, but you have to keep them alive. It's important. It's about the camaraderie of the bottom lane. Vitality now, though, they've taken the lead for us. They're 2,000 gold ahead. They are putting the super team in their place. They're saying, hey, we don't care how many teams we've beaten. We don't care that you think you're going to go 18-0. We're just going to totally destroy your early game.
But it's now about what they do with this slight lead that they have, because again, it is still a very big Aatrox and a very big Karthus, and it looks like dive top is the answer.
Looking for Forbidden. There's a redemption used by Mowgli. Pops the Ragnarok as well. Forbidden just about gets away for the moment, but Jizuke eventually will put him down. There should be another tower. Karthus coming up here. No Requiem on Maxlord, but can force Jizuke and Mowgli away for the moment.
Single Skittle would ruin his day. Meanwhile, something is happening bot side.
Yeah, they're just trading into each other.
Yeah, except there's a tower there.
Dived Cabo was like, oh, you've still got your tower there? I'm just so used to my bot lane having taken it by now, Fusk.
He does need to respect Cabo a bit more. That gold has put him in a very different spot. He also has the barrier because of the unsealed spellbook. And speaking of respect.
Yeah, Attila playing Hansama's signature champion against him and saying, okay, we can put 2 Baxes into your back. Maxwell coming in from the flank here. Not going to be able to do too much. Wall of Pain not used yet, but Attila having a stellar performance on this Draven.
And Vitality are doing such a good job splitting up this map and splitting up the correct lane assignments. The fact that they're bowling around this Galio right now with the Olaf and the LeBlanc. And then they just kind of park their Draven in the mid lane to hoover up all of the free farm as the minions are not going to change aggro and hit that tower. Sorry, observers.
50 HP on the tower, by the way. Everything is surviving with slivers of HP. Slivers. Basically nothing left. Okay, now, let's have a look at exactly where we are for Misfits. You've got Morello Nomicon finished, you've got the Runic Echoes finished, and the Sorcerer Shoes on Maxor. Proto Belt on Forbidden. Blade of the Ruin King on Hansam. They're getting their first completed items across the board. But if you go across the other side, you're at an item and a half. You're almost at 2 for some people. You've got another BF Sword and Attila alongside the Bloodthirster. You've got the Luden's Echo and the Fetus Codex. You've got the Hextrigger and the Redemption on Mowgli. Vitality in such a strong spot.
And you also have an Infernal Drake spawning in 20 seconds. So
Oh,
we
no more
finally
clouds.
got what we wanted, Medic.
Give
and
me
there
fire.
is going to be a fight, and Vitality are going to feel very confident tanking it. My question is, how much damage is Maxlor actually going to do at this point? And is that enough between him and Soaz that Misfits want to contest for this?
Jizuke could jump across here just to chunk out Soaz before that fight starts. Have to keep our eyes on Jack Troll in the fight, because if he displaces Maxlor out of the middle of the fight, that's where we really see Vitality coming to their own. Jack Troll's going to be pulled back by that Infernal Chains,
Deep
but Misfits
teleport.
already started. There's the teleport behind them. On towards the Razor Beaks. The fight starts. Gorilla steps forward. He is on Jack Troll. Gets a lot of damage down. Maxwell now being forced away. Jizuke jumps onto him, and Maxwell, he's not in the fight. Only Camo Shard there, but he can just keep chasing onto Soaz. The World Ender ticking away. Will be still available for the moment. Camo Shard waiting for that Fear Beyond Death. Actually already been used. Has enough damage to take down Soaz. Jizuke just forcing them back. Gorilla goes in for the re-engage, but the exhaust use from Camo Shard. This is so good for Vitality. They keep pushing forward, and one by one, Misfits are falling by the wayside. Vitality with a 3-for-0 sweep.
And they can take whatever they want on the map. They'll surely get the Infernal, but they start with the mid tower and possibly pushing in for more. But wait, the Baron is spawning in 3 seconds.
What an incredible fight for Vitality at the exact perfect moment. We thought they were fighting over the Infernal. They say no. We take 3. We take the Baron. We take a commanding lead in this game. Teleport coming in. Misfits want to have something to say about this, but it's only for Bivin at the moment. Maxwell pops the Requiem. Jack Troll's low. Is this the prayer to the people? Maxwell gets one. The Baron goes down. What can Vivin do? He's not going to be able to clean up too much. Channel comes out from Mowgli, flashes across the wall, and Misfits only get a single kill at the Baron.
But a huge swing for Team Vitality. They managed to get at least 4 of the Baron buffs out. And this is the thing. We knew Vitality would be confident enough to take this fight because of their item advantages. Misfits felt confident that they had vision control over the area, but they missed the ward in the back of the Raptor camp. Cabo Shard, he's been so good in lane phase, not necessarily this game, but for the week, but now he's good in the team fights. Gets into the back, assassinates the Karthus.
Mowgli and Jizuke here to try and force Misfits away. No flashes, only Hans Summer and Maxwell have theirs. Jizuke's just gonna jump in, Karthus down, Gorilla down as well. Vivin will fall. Vitality just come in. Every time Misfits want anything, they come in and they slap them down.
And they cannot deal with the burst damage between the Urgot, the LeBlanc, and the Draven just walking into them. Misfits are just exploding.
This is incredible stuff from Vitality. Misfits, the super team, the team that we talked about going 18-0, have been put well and truly in their place, and Jizuke just keeps pushing forward. He doesn't care, he'll jump back. So has had to pop the ult to keep himself alive. Vitality now pushing him mid onto these inhibitor towers. It's a 21-minute game, and already they're looking for inhibitors.
And this is a Cabo Shard who is 6-2-2, who just got ganked repeatedly in the top side. He managed to turn it around when the Rift-Tailed play came in, and now is a massive threat on this Urgot. Everyone across the board from Team Vitality. I feel like I can hear Yamato Cannon laughing in the back. He said, this is Vitality's time to win. They will lift the title. Everyone said this was Misfits, and Vitality come out swinging.
Just incredible stuff. Misfits were like, okay, we can fight, we can get the Inferno, but Vitality answers so quickly, so decisively.
That damage from Jizuke, and the Cabo just walks them down. It's like the meat grinder.
It's absolutely disgusting, and we talked in week 1, we said, where is the Vitality from Worlds? Where is the team that defined the meta? Yesterday against Fnatic, we said, yes, it's better, but it's still not Vitality. This is Vitality. This is unadulterated, unapologetically emotive Vitality. They just come and they take the game to you.
And it was the fact that they did it playing from behind. Again, a very disastrous early game that started with one of the earliest first bloods that the LEC has ever seen.
Jack Troll, well, it was the earliest first blood we've ever seen in Europe, never mind in the LEC. So strong from Vitality. They came back, they beat Misfits at their own game, playing through bot lane. They've now translated that into a 9,000 gold lead, and they don't look like they want to stop. Jizuke jumps onto Soaz, chunks him out to half.
And it's a question of what do Misfits even do? They don't have the items to compete, and Vitality recognize that they're stronger. They can just walk these minions in.
Jizuke even going for the Medjais. He's building the stacks. He's lapping up the kills on Misfits. This is the inhibitor down in the bottom lane, you have to feel.
And the scary thing is watch Jack Troll's positioning. He's so confident to step forward on the Gragas, and Misfits must respect it because they know that they're stronger, and he just wants to sweep them out with the cask. It's so strong when you do have a siege potential like this to have a Gragas when you're ahead.
Misfits just don't know what hit them. They started off well. They put Cabo Shard behind in the top lane. They got first blood on Jack Troll. They were in a good position, but then piece by piece, their puzzle was just dismantled by Vitality.
Vitality pulled the rug out from underneath them and hard carried through the mid and the bot lane. Jizuke always pressed forward into Fevin's face. Right on clock for this LeBlanc damage, now ahead of it now that he has the Magi stack, but it was really that breaking point in that bot side.
We've talked so often today about rookie mids, the next generation of EU mids, where I think Jizuke today has just said, okay, I'm not done yet. I'm still here. I'm still proving myself. You talk a lot about caps. You need to add Jizuke to that list because he is here to stay. Max was going to put down the wall of pain trying to catch out Jack Troll, but now has to just back away. Can't even secure his own Gromp, and Vitality doing it by the numbers. They'll come up towards the top lane. The Baron buff has expired, but they only have one inhibitor left to take.
It's now about how controlled can Team Vitality be to close this one out. You know, normally we would say that it's still not over yet. It feels like there's that tiny voice in your head that says, wait, the super team Misfits, they can do it. Team Vitality, they're crazy. You know, they just, like dynamite, they can explode. But this feels like a very different Vitality, a very mature and controlled explosion.
Probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest performance I have seen from Vitality in a long time. Looking back at Worlds, this is RNG level of performance from them. Jizuke jumps onto Soaz again, almost just one-shots him. Jack Troll jumps in. That's the explosive cask used. Now maybe Misfits can find a position to fight, but already they're forced back. Soaz has to go back to the fountain, the inhibitor tower down, and the inhibitor will shortly follow. The Baron power play was so impactful for Vitality. Remember, we're only 25 minutes in. They have cracked the base of Misfits. They've cracked the mirror that Misfits were holding up to themselves, the mirror that said, we're the super team, maybe we can go undefeated, while Vitality is saying, not on our watch, not today. Today we will take you down.
Backs against the wall, this could be the last option for Misfits. It doesn't look like Vitality, there's no objective for them to siege on the map. They either wait for the Baron or they take it here and now.
Oh, Jizuke jumps back. You can see super minions pushing in the side waves now as well. Vitality just waiting for these waves to be there. You've got double super in the mid. You've got a single super down here. Misfits need to clear that up before that double super gets there, because otherwise Vitality can just close out the game. Jizuke jumps forward once again, catching onto Soa. Soa's back to base. He needs to regen. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to have an impact in the fight. But already, Vitality on the Nexus tower. Tansama jumps forward. He's only got one item. He can't do anything. He's trying to hit the support, but he just doesn't have the damage. Eventually, Vitality decide they will just continue to chip away at these towers. They haven't quite gone in yet, but Misfits realize they have to do something. They've jumped onto Jack Troll. They can't quite take him down. Eventually, he falls, but Jizuke still full HP. Attila still full HP, and they will unleash hell on your faces, Misfits. One down, that's the Karthus done. There's the Requiem, but you're praying to no god. There's no one up there listening, Max Law. Jizuke taken out. It's a double kill for him. He still survives. Attila flashing forward, and Vitality will take down the super team. They say, look at us. We are the super team now.
Next chapter for Team Vitality, no longer just the uncontrollable rookies. They are the team to fear. Misfits, we thought that was it. It's G2, it's Misfits. There's no one else in the conversation, and Vitality kick that door wide open.
What a performance. Unexpected, to say the least. We knew Vitality would come out swinging, but I don't think anyone thought they would beat Misfits in 26 minutes with a 12,000 gold lead. They beat Misfits at their own game.
One guy who did, Coach Yamato Cannon. Said it in that interview. He felt confident about the draft. It was just about the execution. He said it in the preseason that Vitality is the team to be afraid of, only changing out a single member in that jungle position before going to Worlds. And so many people overlooked them. A shaky start, but proving that there wasn't enough tape.
You know what I love about this as well? This leaves me with more questions than answers. Like, I come into next week, I'm like, okay, so is G2 better than Misfits, better than Vitality? Is Vitality better than G2, who are better than Misfits? Like, we have so much more to prove, and all the teams are kind of still sorting themselves into their varying tiers, into their varying divisions. There is so much still left for all of the teams in the LEC to prove, and I think it only gets more exciting from here.
It's that rock, paper, scissors, but this is the guy that I really want to focus on, Jizuke. He really grinded it out in the offseason, went to Korea, went for the boot camp, working alongside the likes of Mowgli and really popping off on that LeBlanc.
What a day of action it was. Of course, have to give